Kylie. You know how the youngest siblings are usually the favorite, spoiled ones in the family? Well, my story is the complete opposite. That is, until I made a fortune and they suddenly started worshiping me. But what I did next left them shook. Before I continue, click like and subscribe because My Story Animated will give $1,000 to one lucky person who subscribes in the next 7 days. Tell your friends, your sister, brother, and mom to subscribe now. I came into this world on a beautiful summer evening, an adorable little cutie weighing 10 pounds. Everyone gathered around to catch the first glimpse of me, and no one looked really happy. You see, I was born 18 years after my older twin sisters, Sally and Mandy. Just when my parents thought it wasn't even possible to have any more kids, I came along. Within the first week of bringing me home, my parents were at their wits' end.
I'm trying to sleep. Can't you get her to be quiet? Can't you see that I'm trying? I'm too old for this. Should we give her up for adoption?
Dad instantly sat up straight in bed.
That's not a bad idea.
Just then, Sally came rushing into the room. Mom, Dad, don't give her away. I'll take care of her, I promise. And just like that, Sally practically became my mom and raised me. Mandy never helped out. She seemed to care as little about me as my parents did. Once, when I was a year older, Sally wasn't home and Mom had to take me to the grocery store with her. A stranger saw me in the cart and started gushing over me.
Oh, your granddaughter is adorable.
Mom was furious about being called a grandmother. She refused to go out with me in public after that. By the time I was 2, I hadn't started saying any words. Sally felt worried and told my parents to take me to a speech therapist, but they just scoffed.
It's a good thing she's quiet. She'll be talking our heads off soon.
But 2 more years passed, and I still hadn't spoken anything. My doctor said my speech problems may be due to some complications during Mom's pregnancy. Great. Isn't it embarrassing enough that she just dropped out of nowhere, and now she's too dumb to speak? I wasn't too dumb to understand Mandy's mean words. Later that night, I snuck into her room and threw all her precious makeup in the toilet. Her screams the next morning made my day. Sally had started teaching me how to read early on, but she had no idea if I was actually learning. I wish I could tell her that at 5, I could read fluently. When I was done with all my storybooks, I started picking books off her shelves. They were mostly computer-related, but I found them fascinating. One night when I was 6, I decided to sneak some cookies from the kitchen when I heard voices from Mandy's bedroom. I peeked through the door crack, and to my shock, I saw a tall boy inside. Ah! There's a thief in Mandy's room! And seconds later, everyone had come running and were staring at me. Oh my God, Kylie, was that you? I can't believe you can talk. Then Sally turned to Mandy angrily. Gosh, you know you can't bring your stupid boys here. We have a kid in the house. I'm not letting this little brat rule my life like she rules yours. I'm moving out. And with that, Mandy packed her things and left with her boyfriend. Sally got me admitted to school soon after, and I loved it. And once I started talking, there was no stopping me. My parents both started wearing earplugs, but Sally loved listening to me. My teacher said I use really big words, but I'm a big girl with a big brain and big ideas. I have to use big words to express them, right? When I was in the 6th grade, the school called the kids' moms to talk about their careers on Mother's Day. And of course, Sally came. I felt so proud as she told everyone all about being a computer engineer. But when we were walking home, she turned to me with tears in her eyes. I have some news, kiddo. I got a really good job in another city, and I have to move. It was one of the saddest days of my life when I watched Sally leave. Dad was mostly away for work, and Mom was really bad company. She wouldn't even let me play outside with the other kids after school because she'd have to keep an eye on me. But I'm bored.
Here, I have a fun idea. Why don't you learn how to knit?
And she took out an old knitting basket from her closet. I'm 12, not 70. Also, are you going to teach me?
God, no. There are plenty of tutorials online.
And with that, she opened something called YouTube on her tablet and went off to take a nap. Surprisingly, it turned out that knitting was quite fun. I learned the basic knots first, and then moved to the more advanced lessons. By the end of the month, I'd knit scarves for both my parents, who said they would never wear something so ugly. I still enjoyed it and kept learning. And even better, I discovered all sorts of videos related to computers and software and app making. and I was hooked. But one day, the worst possible thing in the world happened. I was trying to open YouTube, but the page just kept giving an error. And then I heard on the news that YouTube was banned across the country. I was horrified. It was all anyone could talk about in school, too. I'm moving to another country.
I'm arranging a town-wide protest tomorrow against the government. We want YouTube back.
Just then, I had a light bulb moment and got the greatest idea ever. But I needed the help of a boy, so I put up a job poster on the bulletin board the next day. I got one text from a boy saying he was interested and could meet me at midnight. He said he was too ugly to send a picture, so I told him that he'd have to pay me $100 to identify himself, and he agreed. That night, I snuck up to the attic quietly. Soon after, I heard a sharp knock on the window and saw a boy standing outside. I was really shocked. Ugly? What had he been talking about? He was a total hottie, and he smells nice, too. The boy handed me a $100 bill.
You told me to meet you here and give you $100? I'm Mark, the computer geek.
Oh, yes. And it's $200, actually. He gave me another bill, and I quickly put the money in my pocket.
So what's this job about?
I have an awesome idea for an app. What if there was an app we could download on our phones to access blocked websites? He looked really impressed, and we agreed that he could come here every night secretly and work till dawn before anyone woke up.
Great. And pay me?
I quickly took the $200 out of my pocket and gave it to him. Well, let's start off with that, shall we? And you can take 10% of anything I make once the app is successful. Mark smiled at me, and my knees felt a bit wonky.
Deal.
And with that, he was gone. For the next few weeks, Mark and I worked every night on the app in the attic. He was really smart and funny, and my secret crush on him was just growing stronger. It was getting kind of hard to keep all these secrets, though. I was dozing off here and there all day, and Mom was getting suspicious.
Why are you so sleepy all the time? What are you up to all night?
Knitting, Mom. What can I say? I'm obsessed. One night, I had a present waiting for Mark when he came. It's not much, but I made you this scarf. It's green, like your eyes. I mean, not that I've really noticed the exact shade or anything. He grinned and immediately put it around his neck.
I love it.
Just then, we suddenly heard footsteps coming closer. In complete panic, I dragged Mark with me to the nearest closet. From a tiny crack, I saw that it was Dad, but it looked like he was sleepwalking. He just stared around blankly, then walked away. As we stepped out in relief, I realized I was still holding Mark's hand, and just then, he pulled me closer and kissed me. It was every bit as amazing as I'd imagined it. The app was ready in a few days, and we waited anxiously to see the response once we launched it. When the first few people started downloading it, we jumped up and down in delight, but then it just went bonkers. We had hundreds and hundreds of people suddenly downloading the app. The number had gone up to thousands by morning. The school was buzzing with excitement that day as everyone was on their phones, and I overheard the girls say, "Download FireGuard app already, loser. It's so cool." Thank God I can finally post my makeup tutorials again. So amazing! I've really missed watching all my favorite channels. Whoever made this app is really smart. This was an instant hit, and I was about to get very rich. Of course, I kept this a secret from everybody, especially my parents. As it grew more popular, the app constantly needed upgrades, so Mark would still come to the attic, and we secretly kept working and celebrating our success. By the end of high school, I'd made enough money to easily go to any college and live independently. I'd been accepted into MIT, and I could hardly wait to go in the fall. But then, something really unexpected happened. One day after dinner, the doorbell rang, and when I opened the door, Mandy was standing there holding a baby girl. "Oh, Aunt Kylie, say hello to your niece." And with that, she dumped the baby in my arms and ran to hug Mom and Dad. "Hello, Grandma and Grandpa. We're moving in with you guys. Isn't that great?" "Yeah, I dumped my stupid husband, finally." My parents looked like they were about to faint. They absolutely refused to take care of the baby, and Mandy was just as selfish as ever. So she just expected me to take care of her. But to be honest, I didn't mind because my niece was adorable, and it's not like I was going to be around much longer. Auntie Kylie will be off to college soon, but it's our little secret, okay? I'm really gonna miss you. The night that I was college soon, but it's our little secret, okay? I'm really gonna miss you. The night that I was leaving, I left my parents a note in my room and was planning to sneak out of the attic. Mark was already there to help me with my bags.
Ready for this adventure?
So ready. As Mark pulled in for a kiss, suddenly the door flung open and we flew apart to find my niece standing in the doorway. Aunt Kylie is here! And to my horror, Mandy walked in right behind her with an evil smirk. Gosh, don't you know you can't bring stupid boys here? We have a kid in the house. Wait till I tell Mom and Dad.
Tell us what?
And they were both behind us. God, was the entire house awake today?
Where do you think you're going, Kylie? And who's this boy?
Mom? Dad? I'm leaving because I've been accepted at MIT. They all stared at me for a minute and then burst out laughing.
Yeah, right. As if you're smart enough to get in there.
It took you 5 years to start talking, remember?
And who do you think is going to pay for college anyway? You think we've been saving for that?
I felt really mad, and I couldn't keep it in any longer. I whipped out my college acceptance letter and waved it in their faces. I did get in, and I don't need your money. I came up with the idea of the FireGuard app, and Mark helped me develop it, and it changed a lot of people's lives, and I'm rich enough to never need a cent from you ever again. Suddenly, both my parents were hugging me and smothering me with kisses, saying they always knew I was special. I pushed them away. Save it, guys. You've always acted like I'm a burden and never really loved me. Well, I'm finally out of your hair now. I gave my niece a kiss, and with that, I walked away for good. I'm studying at MIT now with Mark, and it's the happiest I've ever been. If you all want to support me through my studies at university, please download the FireGuard app that you can see in the description box